You ever saw like a what they call a shape changer?
Shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter.
See, that's that YouTube stuff.
And what if that nigga Schoolboy Q an alien?
No, Schoolboy Q ain't an alien, man. I seen him take a shit at a truck stop. They don't do that. That's some trippy shit.
Sometimes when I watch a talk show, I feel like the person interviewing relies too much on scripted cards, formulated questions that were prepared beforehand, which makes sure that they could fill in the air whenever silence happened. But Danny's House tries to be different, because in Danny's House, all it really wants to do is create an atmosphere for its guests to feel like they can relax, hang out, and have some of the dumbest but funniest conversations on TV.
If I was a ghost, I think I'd hunt strip clubs.
You'll hunt the strip club?
Yeah.
Man, they already got enough going on. You can't be haunting the strippers. You need
it's not necessarily, it's the customers too.
Haunt the sound system.
The sound? Oh yeah, and fuck the whole shit up?
Oh yeah, throw the Macarena on. Fuck the whole club up.
The show is hosted by Danny Brown, who really makes the show work with his natural talent as a conversationalist and ability to guide a conversation to interesting and funny directions, which is kind of great because I only know Danny Brown for his music, but if you don't know who he is, he's one of the more interesting and eccentric rappers I've heard in recent years, and as a side note, I'd recommend giving him a shot because he's someone that I actually listen to outside of the show, even if he can come across as an insane person with a ridiculously high-pitched voice and crazy laugh.
Nobody can.
But I love that his talent can also translate to the small screen, and you don't have to like or even know anything about Danny Brown's music to enjoy this show. In fact, I'd actually say they're very different in some ways, because what Danny Brown brings is probably one of the better ways I've seen of interviewing people, by not just listening and asking questions, but actually not being afraid to talk himself and tell stories or strange personal opinions and remarks.
Well, everyone's talking about jobs. What about jobs? Doesn't nobody want the jobs that AI is going to be doing?
Yeah, in some sense, but it get on my goddamn nerve. I don't like that self-checkout shit. I always steal shit by mistake.
Which is why I wouldn't even call this your traditional kind of interview style, because it really is just two people hanging out and having a conversation, and that to me is almost like an anti-interview, but really the best kind of interview you can have because of how genuine the interactions feel. And that's what Danny's House is great at. The whole show really has this focus on creating a hangout kind of atmosphere so the guests can feel just as comfortable like they would be talking to their friends at home, and that makes for the most genuine and hilarious kind of reactions.
But my go-to music is usually Smokey Robinson.
Smokey Robinson?
Yeah, that gets my panties wet. Like, I will suck your dick. Oh.
My only real problems with the show are that as much as I like Danny Brown and how he talks to people, not every episode in this 8-episode season is as good as the other, and sometimes that comes down to the guest or the conversation that just isn't funny or interesting.
But as far as the sex robot thing, I just think, the guy don't talk back or say nothing.
Which is how a lot of men prefer their women.
No, I like somebody to put me in check here and there. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to have to put some time in and build a relationship.
Oh, you are a feminist. I see. You want to earn it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to earn love.
Ugh, I love it.
And there's also a lot of sketch comedy mixed in with an episode, and while some of it works, more often than not, it's a lot of hits but misses, and it'll depend on what you find funny.
Which one of them is playing hard to get? But either way, I'm aroused.
Aren't we supposed to be just looking at the stars?
Oh, God. It's acoustic for now, but something's gonna get plugged.
Peeper, you gross.
Some of these scripted elements translate over to when Danny talks to guests, mainly with playing games with them that, yes, are planned beforehand, but I don't think they're really that inauthentic because all of them feel more like interesting hypothetical situations and what if or would you rather kind of questions that, again, you'd probably play with your friends when you'd hang out with them. Plus, it's not like it's just a one-way interaction because Danny himself is also playing, and he's not afraid to give his own opinion just because he's the host. More often than not, he'll just go off on his own tangent and not worry about if his guest star is talking or not, just to make some executive producer happy.
I mean, what if we die and we just go into another planet on some alien shit? Like, if millions of these planets, and they talk about a heaven and hell, and they don't really understand that theory. But what if we die, we just transform to another planet?
The best part about the show is definitely when Danny Brown just talks to the guests, but he's not just a naturally good converser. You can also tell that he actually gives a crap about making you laugh by being creative in what kind of games or sketches he puts in. And I wouldn't be surprised if he started doing stand-up on the side, because I can see that his mind is actively working and thinking about funny remarks and jokes in the same light as that of a comedian, which is probably why I also feel like he's just an inherently funny character, on top of being a down-to-earth guy.
Were you having sex in high school?
I lost my virginity when I was 13.
What?
Yeah, I was at my sister's sleepover. I wasn't really good at it. I just kept falling out. You know, you think you've been watching pornos and stuff.
you're really
and I was
doing
watching the old school VHS pornos, and they was whipping out them long dome silvers. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways, I really hope there'll be a second season because I had a blast listening to some of these conversations with the guests, which didn't just include some interesting people in his industry like A$AP Rocky, Schoolboy Q, or Insane Clown Posse, but also great comedians like Hannibal Buress, Joey Diaz, and somehow even Gilbert Gottfried.
Sometimes you have like dumb, simple dreams. Like you could just dream of, I don't know, just like a boat floating in the ocean with like a piece of shit on it.
Yes, Freud. I used to talk about that. That one dream everyone has.
And you can see that Danny Brown also wants to use his platform to shine a light on some other emerging artists or comedians in the same vein of what Dave Chappelle did with The Chappelle Show, which is great because I actually found myself checking out some of them when an episode had finished. So I really hope that he gets picked up for a second season because I can't wait to see who else he could hang out with and have some of the dumbest but funniest conversations.
What do you think about this motherfucking ghost right here?
I'd have to smash for the story.
So if you had to live with a ghost, what would your rules be for the ghost living with you?
Number one, don't touch my weed.
That's a rule for real humans. Fuck this
Number two,
ghost.
clean the bathroom.
Well, this ghost is using the bathroom.
I don't know. They got to do something.